One of the biggest announcements, one of the first things that we saw at the press conference last night was the trailer for The Order 1886, Ready at Dawn's new game. I have Ready at Dawn co-founder Rue here with me.
Thank you.
That trailer, if that trailer had not clearly said, this is being done in engine, I don't know that I would have believed it.
Well, thank you. Actually, I think that's the biggest compliment we can get.
It was really awesome. And this is funny to me because last time we saw you guys, it was God of War, Ghost of Sparta for the PSP, 2010, smoke bomb, disappear. Everybody's wondering what you're working on, and then we see this come out. How long have you been working on The Order?
On the game itself, I want to say about, it's been a little more than 2.5 years, but as far as the IP itself, it's been a much longer process. I mean, we worked some on these ideas like maybe 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah, and this is a very original looking world, so I can believe that you've been working on it for a long time. Tell me what we're looking at here. It's not quite steampunk. We're looking at some sort of alt-reality London.
Yeah, we kind of like to call it neo-Victorian London. Mm-hmm. It's London, and it's the London we know with a twist. The problem with steampunk is that there's so many different connotations to steampunk. You can take Wild Wild West. You can go to a lot of the City of Lost Children, and it always gets a little bit comical, a little bit out there and non-believable. We wanted to keep our version of this neo-Victorian London believable in what people would actually think really happened in our history.
Yeah, so you see a horse and carriage, but then all of a sudden somebody brings out this crazy machine gun and a lightning gun. So the trailer was very much sort of in a track mode, right?
Yeah.
We didn't get to see much about what the actual game is like. Tell us a little bit about the gameplay in The Order. What can you reveal?
At this point, not much. I can tell you that it's a third-person action-adventure game. It's really what we wanted to, concentrate on. It's the kind of game that we want to make. Mm-hmm. Story-driven storytelling was one of the, big pillars of what we wanted to do next. But as far as the gameplay is concerned, we're going to be revealing more actually as the months go by.
Okay. But I mean, we do know you as sort of a studio that does very well with action.
Yeah.
So I think we can assume that it's a real-time kind of action game.
Action adventure. Definitely.
Very cool. We saw multiple characters.
Yes.
So we saw. Are we looking at character classes? Are we looking at characters from the story?
You're actually looking at characters from the story there. Okay. There's like a very big, strong dynamic going on between these characters, and you're going to find out more throughout the game. But we really wanted to showcase some of these protagonists actually that you're going to see throughout the IP.
Yeah, we're going to roll the trailer right now, and I would love for you to just kind of lead me through this as it's happening. So we have it right up here. So there it is in engine, and I'm telling you guys, the second this thing pops up, it just kind of, it really did blow my mind. I'm not one of those people who goes on about stuff like that.
So, I mean, the big thing for us, and you'll see the quote actually that is there is something that we adhered to actually for the IP itself. It's taken from Thomas Mallory's La Mort d'Arthur, the legend
King
of
Arthur legend.
Exactly. Yeah. And you'll see a twist on this actually in the game itself. What you're seeing here actually are a group of knights from an old order that are getting ready for battle. And what we wanted to really showcase on this is not only the believability of everything that you see, but as well as that, we wanted to show you the little things that make it different, make the world different.
So you see you see zeppelins out here in the distance. You're seeing horses, carriages, but then we've got airships. So what kind of technology are we going to be seeing in here?
Well, all the technology is really based on things that you would you could believe existed at the time. For example, the post-1948, Industrial Revolution time was filled with new technology, new inventions. We wanted to leverage that to make all of our stuff feel believable in that time. They might be put together differently than they were back then to make these badass weapons, but they are very much grounded in reality, on the reality of the technology of those days.
Cool. And so this order,
yes.
What do they do? What is their purpose?
Their purpose is protection of mankind. I mean, they're fighting against a centuries-old foe that, this war that's been going on for centuries, and their purpose in life is really to fight in the shadows and to keep mankind safe.
Okay, and so we're about to see them come out of the carriage here, and tell me about some of these weapons that we're seeing.
Well, you're seeing a little bit of your bread and butter weapon that a couple of the guys are carrying, and one of the weapons that, for example, Geralt had here is carrying is the arc gun, the lightning gun that you discussed. And
it's a very Tesla coil looking gun.
Very much so, and again, that's the kind of inspiration we took to take weapons like this, to a new level and make them again believable to people who they would probably go oh wow, that could have existed back then.
We're seeing above ground subway.
I mean, all of those things, funnily enough, you look at history, and a lot of those things existed in some form or the other. But we've just changed it for our purposes. Airships existed a little bit later, like 2-3 decades after. But
so what are they shooting at here? What are these monsters?
Those are the enemy, like the centuries-old foes that I can't really talk to you guys about. We'll be revealing a lot more about those, but
they're definitely not. I mean, I'm looking at these things and I'm thinking that they're not typical storybook creatures that we are familiar with. Like, I'm not looking at a straight-up vampire or a werewolf or something like that, am I?
There is very much of a twist to that. And like I said, I think the strongest case in point that I can make is that everything is grounded in a reality we could believe. And I think that's where we drew the line for the IP. It's to make sure that every time we added something, we always took it back to the point where people would say, all right, it's gone too far, let's make it believable.
So how grounded, how believable do you need to keep it? Like, what's the line? You've got an art gun, you're shooting monsters. Well, what's an idea that had to be thrown out because it was just so weird?
Oh man, I don't know. Off the top of my head, it's hard to say. I mean, there's been plenty of ideas about different monsters and things like that people talked about. I think that every single day we struggle with this, even with the art gun, like you said. How crazy do you want to make it look? Mm-hmm. Do you want to make it look like something they could actually carry, or something that looks more like a futuristic, big, weapon that you can have to hold, with two people have to hold. We always veered on the side of making it more believable.
So if two people have to hold this giant weapon, are we looking at a multiplayer game?
Oh, we're not really discussing that at this time, but you'll probably hear more in the future.
All right, very cool. So thinking more about these weapons, do you get an art gun and it's just an art gun? Do you get an art gun and do you build onto it? Are you adding with this technology?
That's a good question. Mm-hmm. You know what? I should look into that.
We should think about putting weapon upgrades in there.
Yeah.
Why didn't we think about that?
Yeah, we'll talk.
Okay, cool. So tell me about moving, taking this jump sort of from handhelds to the PS4 and what you guys had to do to sort of change your methodology, what you had to do to kind of change the way your teams work.
The funny thing about it is that we get this question often, and people didn't realize at the time, the PSP was an amazing system, but it was also a very hard system to work on because of the limitations that it had for a handheld. Mm-hmm. But people didn't realize how much you could squeeze out of it, and we did. All we wanted to do every step of the way.
Ghost of Sparta looked beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I mean, that was the goal, right? For us, it's make that hardware shine. Yeah. And when we saw the opportunity, especially with the IP that we had in mind, to make it shine, we couldn't have done it before the PS4. And for us, the goal as a team is always, we're good at showcasing a platform. And the great thing behind that whole PSP to PS4 jump is that, funnily enough, I think it did us a huge service because we didn't have legacy behind us. Yeah. We didn't have a huge legacy of PS3. What are we going to take? What are we not going to take? Yeah. We had a lot of systems that evolved from PSP, but at the same time, we took a lot of chances purely because we didn't have to hold on to anything practically before. And those chances paid off. Sometimes they were very risky. Yeah. New physics engines, very many new things.
Just more of everything, right?
Exactly. But a lot of chances, and they paid off in the end.
Well, that's awesome. I cannot wait to see more about the game. What are we looking at for release on the order? Do we know?
Actually, we're not really, talking about it right now. But I'm pretty sure again that it's something that's going to be talked about by Sony very soon.
Awesome. Well, Ru, thank you so much for coming by and talking to us. There's a lot of new stuff that is being made possible by the PS4. One of the things that is coming out and coming to light right now, the new user experience. We have a rundown of that for you right now. Check it out.
Nice, Sarah.
Hey, Will. I'm Dino here. Come play Killzone.
Dude, I don't got that, man. I gotta go and get it.
Hurry up. man, hurry up. Come on, I need your help. Get over here.
Dude, I'll be there in a sec. What?
Oh, Will, bro. Okay, I'll show you how it's done. Check my video, dude.